Sup guys, so today I want to talk about I forgot my glasses, um, biblical Hebrew measuring system, and I want to go through all of it. I want to start with the linear measurements, which linear measurements give us our measurements for time, our measurements for weight, and our measurements for volume. Everything stems from linear measurements, and I've invested a lot of my life studying measurements from all around the world, from Egyptian to Aztec, and of course I love the metric system, and so we'll be basing a lot of everything off metric, which just has grams, liters, and meters. That's it, just those three: meter, linear, gram, weight, and liters, volume. So actually, mass. It's actually mass and weight. Seem synonymous, but they are very different, but not important. Not important for this video. So we're going to start with the linear measurements. Here I have a palm, an ancient Hebrew palm, and it is 10.3 centimeters. And basically the way it works is a palm is 4 fingers. So you could see 1, 2, 3, 4. So my 4 fingers fit in there. That's what those bigger lines are. They're all finger. And ancient Hebrew has no measurement for anything smaller than a finger, which is about the size of an American inch. So I made rings, and I call them a ring. So 3 rings per finger, and it's based off my finger, which has 3 rings. So that's kind of where the logic comes from. So in a palm, there are 3 palms in one span. A span is a Y shape, and the ancient world measured this way. And so in Hebrew, we have a standardized one, and there's 12 fingers in one span, just like there's 12 inches in a foot. And so kind of interesting. The foot originally had 16 inches, and the reason being is, 12 fingers in a span, because the convention, there literally is 12 fingers in a span. 4, 8, 12. And in the Roman world, it was 4, 8, 12, 16. So 16 fingers in a foot. But through influence with the Babylonians, they made it to 12 in a foot, and it ended up being identical to the Hebrew span. So by sheer coincidence, that happened. Okay, there's 2 spans in an amma, a forearm. That's a cubit. So consequently, there's 6 palms in a cubit. So it's kind of cool. It is based off the human body. Most measurements are based off the human body. The American inch is broken into 16ths. We have 16 teeth on the top jaw, 16 on the bottom. Total is 32 teeth. So everything's based off the human body. I did invent one more measurement. Each ring should be subdivided into 10. So that'd be 30, 60, 90, 120. And then, 30, 60, 120. So 360, like the days of a year. There used to be 360 days in a year, but because of the Earth's tilt, we had 5 days. 360 legs in a span. So kind of cool. So that's kind of the measurement I invented that should correspond to the millimeter in the metric system. So one thing that's very important, now when you get to like the mile, there are 6,000 spans or 3,000 cubits in a nautical mile. Now this is huge, and I could spend a lot of time talking about it, but I want to kind of breeze through it. There are several different miles. Here in the United States, we have 3. Our military uses the kilometer. I use the kilometer. And average people use the imperial mile. I don't know how many feet's an imperial mile. I can never remember it because it's illogical. And then we have the nautical mile. And what's interesting about the nautical mile is the nautical mile, everybody uses it. The Israeli military or Navy uses the nautical mile. All navies around the world use the nautical mile. Everyone at sea uses the nautical mile. Air Force uses the nautical mile. Google Maps uses the nautical mile because our degrees, like for instance, Ghana is close to 0 degrees north, 0 degrees east, which is no island. So it's like 4 degrees north, 7 degrees east, or whatever, Ghana, country in Africa. very close to the prime meridian. The degrees and stuff, like when you type in your address on Google Maps, it's based off the nautical miles. And basically, the Earth is divided into 360 lines of longitude and 180 lines of latitude. And the most recognizable line of latitude would be the equator. Prime meridians going over the United Kingdom. And so it's you're never going to escape the nautical mile. We have to have it. The ancient Egyptians only had 1 mile. Their land mile and their mile for sea was the same. It was the nautical mile. So if you take 60, because there's 60 minutes in 1 degree, and 1 minute is 1 nautical mile, and multiply it by 360, you get 21,600. And that's the circumference of the Earth around the poles. So there's 21,600 nautical miles around the Earth. And that was true with the Egyptians. So they knew the Earth was a sphere, and it's believed that the pyramid in Giza was the prime meridian of the ancient world, which would put Israel very close to 00, no island. That's the convention. No island is just a buoy at sea that shows where 0 degrees north, 0 degrees east is. So I find that fascinating. The French, when they invented the metric system, they wanted the meter to be 1/10,000,000th the distance from the North Pole to the equator. So if it's 1/10,000,000th, then that'd be like 10,000 kilometers from the North Pole to the equator. All you got to do is move the zeros. And that's a quarter. So multiply that by 4, you get 40,000 kilometers. And coincidentally, the polar circumference of the Earth is around 40,000 kilometers. So it's based off the shape of the world. So the most perfect measuring systems have to be based off the shape of the Earth. The metric system is based off it's based off of our planet. So was the Egyptian measuring system. It was based off the planet. And so was the ancient Hebrew one. You'll hear differences on the cubits of the ancient world, but I use a cubit of 61.8 centimeters, close to 24, 25 inches. The Egyptian cubit was 18 inches because, 25-inch cubits is a large man. If you look, the ancient Hebrew measuring system is based off the body of Adam. This is Adam's palms. This is how wide his fingers were. Look at the difference between Adam's hand and mine. He was a giant. Your cubit, the length of my cubit is corresponds to my body. If I multiply this by 4, that's my height. Well, if we take the cubit, ancient Hebrew cubit, and multiply it by 4, we get an Adam of 8 foot tall. So a larger, taller than the world's tallest man. So Adam was a giant. I have a hand your hand is 1/10 your height. Mine is 18 centimeters. And I happen to be 180 centimeters tall to the dot. So there was an Italian guy that wrote the Venturian Man and Divine Proportions of the Human Body. And, I hear a lot of white people just fascinated by it. Oh, like the Vinci codes and bullshit like that. But it's common Semitic knowledge. This is actually part of the biblical measuring system. And what you find is a lot of these cubits, because there's like 5 different kinds. So there's a lot of debate as to ancient Hebrew what it was. It's really easy to figure out. The Egyptians actually had a larger cubit. They had that short 18-inch cubit. Then they had the large 25-inch cubit, which came from the Hyksos. The Hyksos were Arabs that conquered Egypt for about 200 years, and their cubit is found in Egypt. It's about 25 inches. We also have the Royal Persian cubit, the Great Assyrian cubit. These are the large cubits, and they were their original cubits. The reason why it changed is because people got smaller. The cubit was known as, in Hebrew, it's amah. It means forearm. And nobody had a forearm that was big. And the Egyptians recognized this fact, and so they reduced it down to something more common, and they divided it by the Earth's polar circumference. So they had to be based off the planet for navigation and for sea travel. And so everything, an Egyptian could measure his house and compare it to the size of the planet, the space we're inhabiting in this world. The French, when they invented the metric system, everything was perfect. Everything was so incredibly perfect. But for some retarded reason, they I guess because France wasn't like Great Britain. We made the prime meridian based off England because England had the most ships at the time. The French didn't have amazing navy, and I guess they just overlooked the nautical mile. So that's what happened. So that's enough of linear measurements. I think the next natural course to go would be measurements of volume. So the French, I'm going to talk about our units of volume in metric. Decided they took a 10 centimeter square. So this is 10.3 centimeters, so about that tall, about 4 inches. So imagine a cube, 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters, and filled that box with water. And the amount of space, the amount of volume that box could hold is our liter. Now, a liter is about the same weight as a quart, and it's identical to the ancient Hebrew cab. And the Ethiopians even have a liter the same. And you could just go on Wikipedia, and they say it is a handbreadth squared. It is a palm squared. So a palm, a bunch of palms, making a cube. The palm of Adam, that is the cab. So I find that to be very, very fascinating. So cool thing about metric is it doesn't distinguish between dry and liquid volumes. But Biblical Hebrew did, and so does America. We, ancient Hebrews, as well as Americans today, still distinguish between dry and liquid volumes. I don't know the American system. I honestly have not memorized it. It's just too damn complicated for me, but I know that it's true. But I do know the ancient Hebrew one. So I guess we'll start with liquid ones. We got number one. We do have that cab. We have the hin. Hin sounds a lot like hayayin, and that's because it is hayayin. It's hin, a hin. It's hayayin. It's a bottle of wine. It was 3 liters is a hin. Next is the bat, daughter. It's actually based off. I really should have started with the dry measurements, but it's based off the ephah, and it is 18 liters, and so it's like a 5-gallon bucket basically. So you have a bottle of wine, you have a 5-gallon bucket. So how much is that? You get like 6. It's 6 times the hin. So 6 bottles of wine will go into it. And then you have the core. Core means a pot. So it's a drum. It's 180 liters. Oil drums are 200 liters, which equates to about a 55-gallon drum. So the cool thing about the biblical system is it has tangible things that we could recognize, and everything divides evenly. Okay, we'll move on to dry measurements. We start off with the cab. Then we go to the sack, the seah. And the seah, it stands for shesh me'od, 600. Because it has the weight, its liquid volume is 600 shekels. Now, a liter, unbelievable. The metric system is so perfect. You got this 10 centimeter box that holds a liter. That liter of water weighs 1 kilogram. So it's based off the earth, and it's based off the properties of water. Same as Celsius. 0 degrees, water freezes. 100 degrees, water boils. So everything's about water. Everything's about the earth. It's very natural. And likewise, the biblical system was this way as well. So you read in the Bible, a seah of flour. It's a bag of flour. So this seah, okay, it was 6 liters. So you could, here we go. Here's a liter. Oh, I got it. Look at that. Because this is my library. This is 500 milliliters. This is 500 milliliters. Together, this is a liter. So if you could put these together, make one bottle, this seah could hold 6 of those. Next is you have an ephah. An ephah is a bucket. So a seah is a bag of flour, and it's 6 liters. And the ephah is a bucket. It's 18 liters. So you could have 3 bags of flour in this bucket. Interesting. So the ephah, and the bat, the daughter of the ephah, is for liquid measurements. 18 liters liquid, ephah, 18 liters flour, something dry. It's a basket. Okay, a basket's going to leak. It's a good way to think of it. 18, numerical value, is of the word chayv, for those little steeped in the Hebrew world. And the next measurement, I like to think like 5 books of the Torah. This is just how my brain works. Is a letech. It's a cart. It's a cart. It holds 90 liters, so 5 buckets. Okay? And the next one after that is a chomer. A chomer, it sounds like chamor. It's an ass load, and it's even translated as an ass load, a donkey load, what a donkey could carry. And it's the same as a core. It's 180 liters. A core is a drum, 180 liters liquid. So this ass load could carry 2 carts. A cart could hold 5 buckets. The ass load could hold 10. Right? Bucket, 18 liters. 18 times 10, 180 liters. 2 latex, 90 liters, 2 carts. So we got the donkey, we got the cart, we got the bucket, we got the bag, and then we got the cab. Everything is based off the cab. So in fact, the ancient Hebrew measuring system, you could just stick with cabs. Everything's, the cab is it. It's the liter. So every measuring system has to have something about this size, because you can hold it. It's something that's natural for people. This is a very transportable size. So to be efficient, that's why even America, which has a crap measuring system, has the quart. It's a quarter of a gallon. Okay, so that's that. Let's move on to mass or weight. And the two are not the same, but that's a very scientific discussion. I'm not prepared to get into at the moment. Well, we will venture maybe in another video. Okay, so we start off with the shekel. And I know that 100 shekels is 1 maneh. A shekel is 10 grams. So a maneh is a kilogram. I weigh 65 kilograms. Okay? So 1 maneh is 1 cap of water. Okay? A liter of water weighs a kilogram. That's a maneh. That's 100 shekels. Maneh means to count. Sounds like moon. Right? So, interesting thing about maneh is 30 maneh is a talent. Okay, a talent is 30 kilograms. So I weigh 65 kilograms. I weigh 2 maneh. And, 2 kikars, 1 maneh. A talent is 3,000 shekels. It's 30 maneh. So, okay, 3,030. So, a maneh means to count because there's 30 days in a moon. We count the days by the moon as it waxes and wanes. And kikar is a roundabout in Israeli society. That's a kikar. It also meant a round loaf in Hebrew. Again, making us think about the moon to count. See, the number 30 is connected to the kikar and the maneh. 30 maneh is a kikar. A kikar is 30 maneh, 3,000 shekels. Okay, so next we have a beka. It's the half shekel. Shekels 10 grams. That would be 5 grams. We have the gerah, 0.5 grams. Gerah is 20 gerah to the shekel. Isn't that amazing? What amazes me about the gerah is, the Aztecs counted by 20. Why? Well, anthropologists believe that it's because we got, and I'm wearing sandals today, 20 fingers, 20 digits, 10 fingers, 10 toes. 20 are digits. 20 dwell in the shekel. 20 gerah to the shekel. Wow, that's so freaking, it's based off the human body. I love that. Next measurement is, there's 50 of them to the shekel. So it's 200 milligrams. Okay, it's 200 milligrams. It's called a carat. The carob. It's from the carob tree. They make chocolate out of these seeds. It's because chocolate's got caffeine. This is a non-caffeinated chocolate. But anyway, ancient convention is so 50 of these. So three carobs make a barley seed. Okay, 150 barley seeds to the shekel. Okay, 3 carobs of barley seed, 4 carobs of wheat berry. Wheat berry, 200 of them to a shekel. So this is another ancient Hebrew measurement, and it's also a convention of the ancient world. So I think that's about it. And there's even so much more. But God, I'm at 22 minutes. That's it. That's all I wanted to say about biblical measurements. So we do already use them. We're using liters. It's the same as the cab. We have nautical miles. It's the same as the ancient Hebrew mile. But some of this information got lost, and a lot of people don't have the connection to it. So I wanted to make it easy, and I want you to love and appreciate these things. So shalom, lahitorot, and I hope this was a blessing to somebody.